Welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Can you believe 1 year ago today, the monster known as Stephan Sterns took a plea deal from the state of Florida of life in prison without the possibility of parole in the abuse and the murder of sweet 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Yeah, 1 year. And I remember sitting in that courtroom, and the moment he stated no contest to the charge of murder, that really got me going, you guys. And it's rough, and I was not far behind him in that courtroom. But let me play a bit when he did do his plea deal, just so you guys can remember what happened 1 year ago today, July 21st, 2025.
I'm going to place you under oath.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to enter into this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I have two plea forms in my hand. One document looks like this. Second document looks like this. They're each plea forms for your respective cases. They each have a signature. That signature is the same on both plea documents. That signature is next to my finger. Can you tell me if that is your signature?
It's hard to tell from here.
Will you provide these forms?
Yes, Your Honor.
to the defendant?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. What your signature and a set of initials after each of the 26 paragraphs on each document, those initials being SS, tell me is that you have had an opportunity to read these documents. Do you have any difficulty reading and writing the English language?
I have no difficulty.
And your signature indicates that you are aware of each of the 26 paragraphs and all of the terms and conditions of these two documents. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I have a secondary document. It is an addendum to the plea form. That document is 4 pages long. It appears to have the same initials on the bottom of each of the pages, as well as a signature at the conclusion of the case along with your attorney, Ms. Borden and Ms. Smith. I'm going to ask the deputies to please provide this document to you, and I'm going to ask you to verify that this is your signature.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
What your signature on this document tells me is that you have had an opportunity to read this document, go over it with your attorneys, and you understand the 13 additional conditions of your plea agreement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Each of the plea form goes over what your trial rights would be. In 2024 CF 1293, you are charged with the allegation of first-degree premeditated murder. In 2024 CF 632, you are charged with 60 counts. The first 9 counts being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age, counts 10 through 13 being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age, counts 14 through 20 being lewd or lascivious molestation, counts 21 through 60 being unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child, 10 or more images.
Your Honor, counts 1 through 8 are sexual battery on a child under 12.
My apologies. Counts 1 through 8 are capital sexual battery on a child under 12. The plea form contemplates in 2024 CF 1293 one count of murder, first degree, capital offense. Plea form on 24 CF 632 contemplates counts 1 through 8, 9 through 13, 14 through 20. With the representation that the state of Florida is withdrawing their notice of intention to seek the penalty of death upon acceptance of this plea, the maximum potential sentence on 24 CF 1293 would be life in prison without possibility of parole. Has the maximum sentence been explained to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in 24 CF 632, counts 1 through 8, the maximum potential sentence would be a mandatory sentence of life in prison without possibility of parole. 9 through 13 and 14 through 20 would be first-degree felony allegations with a maximum potential sentence of up to life in prison. Do you understand those maximum potential sentences on that case?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the plea form indicates that these are first-degree felonies. These are actually either capital offenses or punishable by life offenses. Do you understand that, Mr. Sterns?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anyone forcing you or pressuring you into make the decision to resolve your case this way?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone made you any other promises other than what has been presented to you as the agreed-upon sentence?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or mental issues that cause you not to understand the decision that you are making?
I am not.
Do you understand if you are not a United States citizen, that entry of this plea would subject you to deportation proceedings?
Yes.
And if you ever before had been convicted of a sexually violent or a sexually motivated offense, entry of this plea would have subjected you to involuntary civil commitment at the conclusion of any incarcerative sentence. Do you understand that's the state of Florida law?
Yes.
Ms. Smith, do you have any competency concerns regarding Mr. Sterns' fitness to accept this plea agreement?
No, Judge.
Ms. Borden?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sterns, based on your responses to the court, based on your indicating that you have reviewed this decision with your attorneys, based on your initialing of the plea form and your acknowledgement that you understand all the terms and conditions, rights and obligations on these plea forms, including the addendum, the court is going to make a determination that you are alert, that you have had an opportunity to discuss this with your attorneys, that you are making this decision freely and voluntarily and without coercion. The court accepts your plea, the plea of no contest as to 24 CF 1293, the first degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto. Mr. Sterns, how do you plea to first degree premeditated murder in 24 CF 1293?
No contest.
And as to counts 1 through 8, capital sexual battery of Madeline Soto while she was under the age of 12. Counts 9 through 13, sexual battery of Madeline Soto between the ages of 12 and 18. And counts 14 through 20, lewd or lascivious molestation. How do you plead?
Guilty.
25-year minimum mandatory sentence as to the counts requiring a minimum mandatory sentence are imposed. Mr. Sterns, you will have the right to appeal the judgment and sentences of the court. If you wish to do so, you must do so in writing within the next 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The appeal will be limited to the jurisdiction of the court to impose the sentence, and the legality of the sentence itself is a condition of your agreement with the state of Florida. You are agreeing not to appeal the pretrial rulings of the court. State, anything else? Defense, anything else? Thank you. Let's place Mr. Sterns under, he's been previously placed under oath.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a brief statement. I agree that it's not fair that Madeline is not here anymore. I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before. I've prayed to God countless times to trade places with her, to take me instead. And unfortunately, that's just not how he works. I have nothing but sorrow for her loss, and I miss her all the time. Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well, and she truly was a joy. I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her. And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
Anything further, defense? Conclude our plea and sentencing hearing.
That still makes me sick to this day to listen to his little speech or whatever you want to call it. You know, oh, I'm gonna miss Madeline. You know, all his crap and how if he could trade places with her, you know, what a crock. I mean, really, what a crock. And I still very, very vividly remember hearing him say, like I stated before, his no contest to that murder charge. While deep inside I knew it was probably going to be what he would say, it was still shocking. And I wish he would have had to tell us what happened. I wish he would have had to allocute. But that's not how these things work. And you know, we have other cases out there. I know that I'm sure a lot of the victims and families and friends and folks wish, well, sometimes anyway, that they allocute and state more what happened. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it happens. And well, Stephan, she is in heaven. She has been in heaven from the moment you took the life from her on this earth. Maddie is in heaven, and I know she looks down on a lot of people in a good way. And you are definitely not one of those people. And her mother, I'm sure she doesn't look down on her in such a great way either. We can't speak for her. I can't speak for her. You guys can't speak for her. But the fact that her mother hasn't had to have any repercussions for her role in Madeline's suffering, her abuse, and possibly her murder. It really does annoy me 1 year later from this plea deal that the state of Florida gave to Stephan. And I think it's a gift to him. But you know what? The ultimate judge is God. So someday he's going to have to face him. face God, and so will Jen Soto. And I actually sent an email to the district attorney's office. I haven't heard back yet. I sent an email the other day and I asked them straight out. I said, who is responsible for the lack of charges for not charging Jen Soto at all in her daughter's abuse and murder? Now, she did have a derivative immunity, but we all know she lied in that particular deposition, interview, whatever you want to call it, with Mr. J. She lied. And I still question, and I can't fathom how she is still out there walking around like nobody's business. Does she miss Maddie? Does she think about the horror that her 13-year-old daughter, barely 13, had to deal with? Does she ever think about that? Or does she not give a crap and all she cares about is herself? You gotta wonder. And yeah, there's a picture out there. I know I've seen it with her getting her nails done. So she's allegedly living her best life. And I do live in decent vicinity from her. And I will say, God has probably kept me away from her because if I ever met her in real life, no, I wouldn't touch her, but I would have some words. I would have some words. My biggest question, my one question to her would be, do you miss your daughter and why did you allow this to happen? I would ask her legitimately about her daughter. I'm sure she wouldn't answer me. I'm sure she'd walk away. But if I ever encounter Jen, and she happens to listen to this, if I ever encounter you, Jen, because I live in Orange County and I have family in Osceola County. If we ever meet in public, I will be asking questions. And sure, you can walk away. You can walk away. But the questions will be posed. I did make a FOIA request for anything that the state of Florida would provide from this year thus far for Monster Sterns. And while I'm disappointed that I did not get any phone calls or messages, tablet messages, that sort of stuff, I did get some interesting stuff. Now, I did have to pay for this particular FOIA. So, if anybody wants to talk about these, show these, I would ask that you just credit myself in the channel because I did pay for them. Um, I paid $88 to the county, I guess the county clerk for them. But let's go over what they did provide. There's 55 pages. I'm not going to go through every single page. I'm going to sift through it, but it's mostly disciplinary. But there's a little bit in there that I find very, very interesting about Stephan and his current, well, his relationship with somebody potentially. So again, these are the records that I was able to obtain from my FOIA request to the Florida Department of Corrections, and that hey, I asked what I requested specifically was disciplinary records, tablet messages, phone calls, commissary. Unfortunately, I didn't get a majority of what I asked for. It seems like in Florida, a lot of things are harder to get, and that seems to be the case with a lot of it. I guess phone calls, once they get from our county jail system to um, our prison system, they're kind of impossible to get. What I will say is, I want to go over what his parents, because I was hoping to get some commissary and information about how Mama and Papa Stearns are doing, because they recently lost their home to foreclosure. That was it's sad. Okay, let's put it out there. Initially, it's sad. Okay, and I'm gonna toss it on the screen right here in post editing, because that is the magic of doing a video instead of a live. But um, his their home, Chris and Deborah Stearns, their home was recently foreclosed upon by the by I guess the whoever owned the home, the bank, and it's a really sad thing anyway. But you also have to think, when you are a realtor, which is what Chris, he was a realtor. I don't know if he's still doing this sort of thing, besides doing this whole thing with the poodles that they seem to do, the Stearns. They were, well, Chris anyway, he was a real estate, he was a realtor. So the fact that his home in Northport, Florida, went on foreclosure. The home was initially built in 2020. Um, it went on auction due to foreclosure. Like I stated, it's at 2341 Snug Street in Northport, Florida. Became very well known in this case, besides their condo in Kissimmee, Jen Soto's family's condo. It was an opening bid for the home was $5,000. It ended up being sold for just over $182,000. Yeah. And the previously appraised value of the Stearns' home was $266,000. So I don't know if, considering they've been helping out their son so much, that they lost their home, their 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in Northport, but it wasn't because they wanted to move closer to see Stephan Sterns. Okay, because if that was the case, then they would have sold the home. But obviously there was they remortgaged the home, they still had a mortgage on the home. I would think at this point they probably remortgaged their home to aid their criminal pervert son. But anyway, it was sold back in June, on June 16th, 2026, and so the Stearns no longer own that property. And looking up reviews basically about Chris and realtor his realtor reviews, they're not so good. So I don't know if that's a career that he's decided to retire from at this point in life. But I don't know. Was helping out your son with his constant book orders and root beer barrels and all that sort of junk, was that worth all of that? Was that worth losing your home, Chris and Deborah Stearns? I do ask that question. All right, so let's move into these documents. Like I said, I got 55 pages. A lot of it's just this and that. If you guys want me to, I will do a video and just go through every single page. We can totally do that. But I just wanted to sift through this real quick, because I wanted to do a video today because of the 1 year since he was sentenced, and I hope he's having a horrible time in prison. He's currently at the Wakala Annex, but as I get further down, you'll see he might not be having the worst problem, but he hasn't been doing well with disciplinary issues, because this one here, this is from February 20th. I don't know if you guys could read this, so on the screen. So if anybody wants to use it, you can contact me. But like I said, I just want the credit for it because that's concerned. So this is February 20th, 2026. He had an infraction for disobeying an order. And it states that they found him guilty, but it looks like these are in order from descending. So let me just come down here. He did lose it. He pled, of course, not guilty because, God forbid, a criminal pedo says, "Oh, I did it." Mm-hmm. So anyway, here's the statement of facts. It states inmate Sterns and has his DC number. Bunked in M1-132S is in direct violation of FAC Chapter 33-601.314, Rules of Prohibited Conduct, Description 6-1. Disobeying verbal or written order. Any order given to an inmate or inmates by a staff member or other authorized person. On 2/20/2026 at approximately 0835, Officer C. Mays was assigned as a protective management officer. At this time, I was advising inmate Stearns that he would be moving from Mike to Lima. He stated he would not be going to Lima dorm and that he would rather go to confinement. Inmate Stearns was then, and this is all redacted, the shift it looks like OIC was notified and authorized this report to be written. Inmate Stearns was placed on an administrative confinement pending the deposition of this report. And it says here that no hearing shall commence prior to 24 hours of delivery of charges. And then it goes on to talk about how there's an impartial investigation. I guess he gets a copy of this on his tablet. That's my assumption anyway. As an inmate being charged with a violation of the rules of prohibited conduct, you are advised the following. It states the investigation and impartial investigation will be conducted on this disciplinary report. During the investigation of the disciplinary report, you will be advised of the charges against you, and you may request staff assistance. During the investigation, you should make known any witnesses to the investigating officer. The testimony of witnesses shall be presented by written statements. See Rule 33-601.3073 for complete information regarding witnesses. You will have the opportunity to make a statement in writing regarding the charge and to provide information relating to the investigation. Now, like I said, I went through this, so there is a statement from him in here, which is why I'm not going to go through the entire every single page. All right, so here's the statement of facts. Like I stated up above, that he was going to be moved from one dorm to another, and I guess he decided, no, I'm not going to do that, because God forbid it, that he actually follows the rules. Let's see here. And they interviewed, he did not want to go to Lima dorm. And no explanation, it states, of witness statements and other interview not completed. And he received his disciplinary report on 2/24/2026. No evidence, other included reports, other information, DR packet turned into, I don't even know exactly what some of that all says. Their chicken scratch seems to be as bad as a doctor's chicken scratch. So these are inmate witnesses, I guess. There's an officer, and then looks like there's potentially another inmate who saw it. And if you sift through here, I gotta get through all the way through here, because he does make a statement down here. Okay, so here is what Stephan had to say about his disciplinary, report. On 2/20/2026, I was awakened from sleep to Officer Mays loudly announcing a list of names, which included my own name, saying we were moving to L dorm and asking which of us wanted to go, as it was supposedly optional. Several of us declined to go, and Officer Mays then left, returning some minutes later saying it was not optional after all, and we had to go. I guess several of us became rather upset at this. Redacted. Mays informed us that it was L dorm or confinement. Redacted, large redactment. He said I not seem correct for him to do. Redacted here. An officer Bucco said that if the choice were I told both Officer Mays and Officer Bucco that if the choice were Eldorm or a DR, I would choose Eldorm, but I still redacted. Bucco at that time said it's too late. I never said I would not go. Gosh, you can't even write straight. Of that, go to confinement. Instead, I was placed in confinement, which was only compounded, I guess, the problem caused by these events. So he's stating, I guess, his side of the story is that he thought it was optional to move to this dorm. And of course, and I'm pretty sure that they don't give you options in prison. I'm pretty sure they're like, you're going to go or you're going to get written up and go to confinement. And that's exactly what happened to Stephan. And like I said, he was found guilty. So they didn't buy his side of the story. And this, I guess, is the guy who witnessed it. That he would just move to Eldorm. I overheard saying that he was requesting redacted, but if it came down to between, so there's their witness anyway, that he would just move. But again, he was charged with disobeying orders, and because he decided not to move dorms as per the correctional officer told him to. So there's his mugshot. God forbid we have to look at it all every once in a while. And at this point he was still in protective management. He's not in heightened security anymore though. He's got no housing restrictions. No, I guess no restrictive diet, no security magnet, no confinement status. Well, at least not until that happened anyway. And I guess he doesn't have to wear a spit shield. I guess he's not a spitter, so I guess that's a positive because God knows what he's got going on. And here are some. These are just like I think some of his daily reports here. So this is daily records. Like I said, when I asked for information, I asked for pretty much anything that they'd be willing to provide. It looks like, remember back in Orange County and Osceola County, because remember he first was there, and then, well, mostly he was in Osceola County since it happened in Kissimmee St. Cloud. Remember how most of the time he would refuse breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or all the above, or whatever? Seems as though he's taken his food now. So I guess he's decided to eat now that he's in prison for life. So I guess he's decided that he's gonna eat the prison crap after all. And again, here's some more of those. For some reason, some of the stuff is redacted. For whatever reason. And they keep very good records in prison and jail. I've noticed they keep very, very good records, even if their penmanship sucks. So, here's some more of those records. So, I don't see any refusals. So, he's been taking his food. And I believe also he's finally taking showers. So, I guess he doesn't stink anymore. Maybe, maybe not. Although, if they have air conditioning problems like they do at Boone's facility, you never know what their problems could be. Or if he's not asking mom and dad for deodorant, well, that could be a whole nother problem altogether. But yeah, we're just sifting through these. So again, these are just all. Here's a daily record of special housing, gained search, bunked, inmate release, confinement release. So I guess he was in there. So it looks like 3/9/2026. He was released from that confinement. So if that happened on February 20th, he was in there not too long. So he was released on March 9th. Didn't seem like he cared to go to confinement though. Seemed like he was just like, whatever. Let's see. All right, and we got this one here. This is from February 28th of this year. Placement in administrative confinement, or possible protection need from special management case. This has to do with a disciplinary charges. So this is the same issue for refusing to housing. So again, I think it looks like he was found guilty and he had to go into this confinement, and I don't know what else he lost. He can't lose gain time, which, you know, Boone seems to think you can lose gain time, but if you're in prison for life, you don't have gain time. And sadly, there's some large redactments up right here. And I don't know about you guys, but when there's very big blocks of whole pages of redactments like this, my curiosity is very, very piqued. But unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that. So, and here are some more information from the correctional officers. He's got some cell inspections going on here. Looks like satisfactory for the most part on his, on his checking his cell. I guess his cell is not, it's not very good, but it's not poor. So I guess he takes generically okay care of his cell. That's about all that tells us. Looks like they have confinement rules and regulations. Let's see. 1. All inmates are to come to the cell door and get their food trays at mealtime. The trays are to remain inside the cell until they're picked up after meals. Trays are not to be placed in the cell door slot or outside the cell at any time. 2. After completing meals, all trays, cartons, and cups will be returned and picked up, no exceptions. 3. Mattresses, sheets, blankets, pillowcases, towels, and pillows are not to be placed on the floor or hung on the cell bars at any time. 4. All state property is to be in the same condition when returned as it is when issued upon entering confinement. The following items shall be returned before you're released: 1 state issued shirt, 1 state issued pant, 1 mattress, 2 sheets, blanket, pillowcase, towel, security pen, and pillow. The same items issued to you upon entering confinement shall be returned upon released. 5. Inmates are not to write on cell walls, floors, ceilings, bars, or any fixtures while in confinement. Inmates are responsible for keeping their cells clean at all times. 6. Beds will be made and inmates shall be dressed in state-issued trousers and blue shirt by 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. daily. Guess he's got to at least be up at some point and get his ass out of the bed, huh? T-shirts will be worn tucked in and blue trousers worn properly during those times. You may lie on top of the covers after beds are made. I'm pretty sure he does a lot of that because, he's lazy as shit. 7. Inmates are to conduct themselves in a quiet and orderly manner while in confinement. There will be no yelling from cell to cell or out of windows to inmates or staff. 8. There will be no talking after lights out, and all inmates will be on their bunks. 9. There will be no excessive food items in the cell at any time. Canteen food items may be ordered not to exceed 4 items per inmate. 10. All inmates are required to shower on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and haircuts and shaves on Tuesdays and Saturdays unless they have been issued a pass from the medical department. So I guess they sort of make him shower. So that's a good thing that they have to shower. Because if I was a corrections officer, I wouldn't want to be dealing with all that. They have enough to deal with. 11. Inmates are not to pass any items from their cell to another cell or to any other inmates. This includes personal or state property. 12. Inmates are not to be in possession of any tobacco products, smoking, chewing, dipping, or lighters. Disciplinary action will be taken. 13. All inmates are to follow all instructions given by any employee at all times while in confinement. 14. It may become necessary for you to share a cell with another inmate. Should any problems arise between you and your cellmate, you are to contact a confinement staff member immediately. 15. Once a bunk is assigned, you are to remain in that bunk unless otherwise moved by the confinement sergeant or shift OIC, or disciplinary actions will result. 16. Beds will be made with an 8-inch cuff that is positioned 18 inches from the head of the mattress. 17. All confinement inmates shall remain away from cell doors unless there is an emergency, called to the door by a staff member, or to return their food tray as noted in rule number 1. And 18. Upon entering confinement, a security pen will be issued. Upon release from confinement, the pen shall be returned. Failure to do so will result in disciplinary action. And it looks like he signed it. Otherwise, if you break these rules, you'll get another disciplinary report. So it looks like here's his checklist. Guess that all worked out. And we shall continue. And here is another disciplinary report. This one's in March. This is March 25th, 2026. 6 for inmate Sterns. It states the findings and actions here. Let's see. Okay, this is a mail violation. Now let me sift down here, because this is where it gets interesting. This to me was the best piece of information that I received in this FOIA anyway. Here's a statement of facts. Again, this is from March 25th of 2026. Inmate Sterns is in violation of FAC Chapter 33-601.314, Rules of Prohibited Conduct, Description 9-14, Mail Regulation Violations. On 3/25/2026 at approximately 10:05 a.m., I was assigned as a General Services Specialist Supervisor at the Kala CI warehouse. I was reviewing incoming and outgoing emails for inmate Sterns. And there's his ID number. The incoming letter stated, "Hi, I'm Elaine, and I'm interested in becoming pen pals with you." In a reply message, inmate Sterns reply, "S. Elaine, tell me about yourself. I feel it's important to get to know you a bit, and as you have a slight advantage of knowing probably a great deal about me already, I like to hear about you." Yeah, he needs a pen pal. Chapter 33-210.101, Routine Mail, states, inmates shall not use correspondence privileges to solicit or otherwise commercially advertise for money, goods, or services for the purposes of this rule. This includes the placing of ads soliciting pen pals. Inmates who post ads or have ads posted with the assistance of another person shall be subject to disciplinary action. A copy of these emails is attached. As a department head, I approve the writing of this disciplinary report. Inmate Sterns will stay in his current status pending the outcome of this disciplinary report. So again, they tell him his rights and that they're going to be doing the investigation. And here's more about the charges against him. I will give you a hint. He was found guilty. So yeah, he like I said, he's not doing well when it comes to having problems. If he's getting in trouble, it's not in his favor. So here is the statement of facts, like we just read, that they found that there is a pen pal named Elaine. But there'll be more about Elaine momentarily. More large redactments. See, this one I would love to hear more about. So I may be putting another FOIA in to find out more about this Elaine, because when you guys hear more about her, I think you're going to be interested too. And here's more that I guess it's all more handwriting stuff, no explanation of witnesses. So I guess this guy just has this sort of stuff here. Same sort of thing as the other one that he had in February. The same report. I guess every one of them looks the same. They just have to fill out what is pertinent to their issues. They attach JPay letters that will show that I have not solicited her. Okay, so he's saying that he did not do this, but that people can reach out to him. Yeah. So he's claiming to these people, he's claiming to them that I didn't do this. I didn't do it. I mean, these people just wrote to me because, they learned about who I was, that I abused, my almost stepdaughter, and that I killed her, and they just want to be my friend. Yeah. I will never understand why any of these people who contact sexual offenders, pedophiles, and these murderers, I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's like, see, then I think that they're just as bad as these criminals, to be honest with you. So that I guess his witnesses are saying that he did not go on any pen pal websites. All right. And looks like here's the investigation. Your administrative appeal has been received, reviewed, and evaluated. The hearing term found you guilty based on all facts derived from the disciplinary investigation report, which includes witness statements, evidence, and officer and or staff member statement in section 1 of the disciplinary report. You provided an oral statement which was heard and considered. You provided a written statement which was read aloud and considered. Your requested witness statements were read and considered, and you requested no evidence. Be advised, a JPay message sent to you dated 2/27/2026 at 8:27 p.m. Letter ID 2541561174 shows where you were contacted by the said individual who requested to become a pen pal with you. You did not decline the request. You did not place a ticket to the person to be removed. You responded on 2/28/2026 at 9:55 p.m. To accept, thanked her for reaching out to you, and JPay records show a continuous communication. Based on the above information, your formal grievance has been denied. So yeah, he was found guilty and denied. So yeah. Here's him claiming, I have not violated any policy with my emails. I have not advertised for any services or solicited anyone in any way. Any person may contact an inmate of their own volition without prior knowledge or familiarity. Anyone may learn about a case and reach out to correspond with that inmate. I am not guilty of any violation just because someone has heard about me and wants to reach out to talk. I have multiple friends I talk to, and only this friend seems to be a problem. I have also received many unwarranted rejection notices for images she sent. This has all only suddenly occurred, and I believe this is a campaign of unprovoked harassment by the mailroom staff. And that is signed by Stephan Sterns. He is being attacked by the mailroom. Yeah. What do you guys think? I don't think so. I just think he's trying to get away with stuff because, well, he thinks that he can do it. And here's more of his paperwork. Uh, Again, this is somebody trying to state that he did not reach out. I don't know. He probably got one of his little buddies, cellmate buddies, to go there here. Let's see here. On April 2nd, 2026, I appeared before the disciplinary team regarding disciplinary report number 122-260693 for an alleged violation of code 0914. This informal request for remedy does not challenge the findings of the team, such as challenge separately via DC 1-303. Here I am respectfully requesting review of the deletion of email contact Elaine Nagima from the Securious platform. The deletion of this contact is outside the scope of the DR referencing her. No allegation of prohibited conduct by her was made. She is, in fact, added herself as a contact as a private individual with the ultimate right to correspond with any person, absent any security risk/threat. There is no basis for her removal. I appreciate your time in reviewing the matter and request she be restored upon your findings. And they responded to Stephan Sterns, whatever you want to call him, Monster Sterns, by stating, your informal grievance has been received, reviewed, and evaluated. This is being returned. You may submit a ticket for the named individual to be removed. Yeah. And again, here is an email. It looks like, can you provide a formal grievance and response? All the evidence here. And here is him going on appeal about this issue. He's stating this is an appeal of the disciplinary report. It's got the number with a finding of guilty on April 2nd, 2026 for an alleged violation of code 0914. The institution has not as yet provided me a copy of the findings. I'm requesting a close review of this matter, as such a review will show that Chapter 33-210.101 defines the prohibited conduct with clear specificity, stating inmates who post ads or have ads posted shall be subject to disciplinary action with reference to soliciting for pen pals. The reason FAC Chapter 33 is precise and specific in declining the prohibited conduct is that the lawful basis for the code is the underlying statutory prohibition of the internet / digital / online presence for convicted prisoners. The prohibition is founded upon the advertisement and presence, not the act of corresponding with free persons who simply cannot be subject to any restraint of constitutional free speech. The charging report itself is clear that Miss Elaine Nigma contacted me of her own volition as a private person, not via any pen pal service or internet ad. I have not placed any ad and am not featured in any online service. My criminal case is a prominent public affair, drawing the attention of persons, attorneys, reporters, and organizations worldwide. Yeah, he thinks a lot of himself, doesn't he? All of whom have the right to contact and correspond with me. I don't know why most people would, though. The disciplinary team found that no ad was placed in this matter and thus found me guilty in error. Accordingly, I respectfully request the expungement of the DR, restoration of all privileges, restoration of all contacts, emails, and any clarification on my right to correspond you may send to the mailroom to protect my rights henceforth. And we have more redactments here. Now, here's where it gets interesting. And you can see we're almost done. We're at page 52. He apparently, this is recent, June 21st, a month ago, he was notified that this pen pal, this new pen pal that he got in trouble for, she's now been approved for visitation to Sterns. Yeah. Now wait, it gets better. Here is her application. Here is her application to request for visitation privileges. Now, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to circle it. It says three says your relationship to the inmate. It says girlfriend. Is this Sterns' new girlfriend? This Elaine Nagima? Is Elaine now his girlfriend? I guess she's no longer a pen pal. She's a girlfriend. Yeah. And looks like she lives in Ohio. So I started to look at more stuff on her, so stay tuned for that. She lives in Ohio. So I don't know how often she's going to be visiting her jailbird honey there, the pedo Sterns, but she's applied for and gotten approval to visit her sweetheart in prison. Yeah. So he has a girlfriend, Elaine Nicole Jeanette Witt Nagima. And yes, I'm saying her name out, but guess what? This is a public information. Her name is not redacted. And she's an adult. Anybody who contacts a prisoner, it's not going to be secret. It's not going to be secret. Unless you're a victim or a minor, it's not going to be a secret. So it looks like all this information here, that she's not a victim. They have all these questions for her, that she says she's not a victim, this and that and the other thing. Apparently, she's got no criminal history. So she was ultimately approved to visit her little pedo boyfriend in prison. And the last thing that they did send me here on the FOIA was this one here where he got in trouble again because it's another mailroom situation. Here is from Stephan Sterns. He wrote an inmate request. It states, on Friday, 6/12, I received a notification from the JPay representative that an email from Francis Thompson was rejected due to content. I guess this is another pen pal. This contact sent an image displaying a new tattoo, which they had just gotten the previous day, which is located on the lower portion of their back. There is nothing inappropriate in the photo, which I confirmed with this individual. I would like to please have my photo. And he says the letter ID for the rejection is redacted. Thank you. And they responded, photos displaying tattoos are violating JPay's policy and procedure. Therefore, the photo will remain in its current status and your grievance is denied. You gotta love it. Most of the time, they just tell them, you know what? Yeah, that's not happening. Again, you're in prison. You're in prison, Stephan. You are in prison. You don't get a lot of rights because, well, you abused Maddie and you killed her. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think you should have many rights, if any. So, what do you guys think about the fact that inmate Sterns has a girlfriend from Ohio? So, who is this Elaine person? Like I said, I did a quick little search, but I'm working on that to find out who she is. I'm going to guess she's probably into anime and all that sort of stuff that, he likes all that sort of stuff, those little animes and mangas and all that sort of fun stuff. So I'm sure that's the sort of things that she's into. But we'll have to look into that and see about this pen pal that has become his girlfriend from many states away. I'm curious if she actually makes the trek down to Florida to visit him. So let me know what you guys think about all this. Like I said, I am a little disappointed that we didn't get any real messages or phone calls, but on the phone calls front, it's very hard to get calls here in the state of Florida from the prison system. And as a taxpayer and someone who lives here, it's kind of a bummer. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.